Welcome to our 11th Lunch and Learn session in the Teacher Boarded Classroom series from the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio. What is the Teacher Boarded Classroom exactly? It's a term I accidentally created in 2015 when postulating that in a 21st century classroom, students should look more like free-range chickens and teachers should look more like chicken farmers, guiding, observing, and moving around the perimeter, but basically letting the flock do what it was meant to do. In this case, letting students explore learning instead of having learning being something that's done to them. Or if you prefer a sports metaphor, think about the teacher boarded classroom this way. Does the coach carry the ball across the goal line for his players or single-handedly improve the times of her swimmers? Of course not. We all lace up our own shoes and do the work in real life, and the same should hold true in our classrooms. I'm Stephanie DeMichael. I've spent 24 years developing new ways to do old things, and the last 7 years supporting teachers as they've shouldered that task too. That doesn't make me an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I've simply witnessed enough teachers trying to break free of teacher-centered learning, and I've been lucky enough to help them and to learn from them. In addition to supporting teachers, I've also been keenly observing the recent events that have thrown our profession into chaos, researching the questions, what worked, what didn't, and more importantly, what did we learn to do better moving forward? In 2021, this Lunch and Learn series focused on blended learning strategies, and I encourage you to visit my YouTube channel if you're interested in starting there. In 2022, however, the plan is to examine ideas successfully endorsed by educators all over the country, and that is the idea of the EduProtocol, instructional lesson frames designed to engage students in learning through critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and creativity, which perfectly aligns with the mission of creating a teacher-boarded classroom. With regard to all things EduProtocols related, I must give credit to Marlena Hebern and John Carippo, the creators and authors, and today's go-to experts. Let's get started. Again, an EduProtocol is simply a framework that can be used in all content areas and all grade levels. Its adaptability makes it a perfect tool to apply to your teacher-boarded classroom. This week, we'll explore the idea of the Great American Race EduProtocol. In popular culture, the Great American Race usually conjures up images of the Indy 500 or the Daytona 500, fast and focused. Similarly, the Great American Race EduProtocol, first developed by media specialist Ben Johnson, allows for a classroom environment that puts students in the driver's seat, racing for information and trying to cross the finish line first. Here's how it works. In this activity, student teams anonymously contribute facts, information, or vocabulary to a slide as part of a shared class deck. Then, in the second half of the activity, teams race to identify each slide based on the clues provided. For example, let's say students are learning about the 50 states. Each team will create individual slides with clues or hints directly related to that particular state. After the whole slide deck is complete, students then race to determine the state for each slide. Ideally, this Edu protocol works best with information that directly refers to a title or a name. That is, the periodic table, the states, or the amendments of the Constitution. Use it to introduce a new unit of study, to support investigations, to learn about something new, or as a review of previously learned material. So, for example, when I used to introduce Romeo and Juliet to my ninth graders, I frequently provided a teacher-created lecture-driven introduction to Shakespeare, Verona, tragedies, etc. If I had that same opportunity today, however, I definitely use this Edu protocol instead. Now, full disclosure, this does require some prep work on your end, but it's totally worth it in the long run. And here's how it works. After making the decision as to the content to be explored, you will distribute 3x5 cards to your student teams. It really does work best for students to collaborate on this. On one side of the card is a number corresponding to a numbered slide in the slide deck. On the other is the answer or topic to be researched and created. Remind teams to keep their cards hidden from the others. Next, Teams find their matching slide number in the slide deck and design it with clues or hints about their topic. Then, once the entire slide deck is complete, those teams now must communicate silently via a shared document in which they attempt to research and answer the clues presented in the slides of the other teams. Again, they do not talk during this process. They communicate through the shared document chat, and comment features. If it helps, you might consider having the team sit across the room from each other as they race to make their informed guesses. For step 5, a Google form is recommended. 1, because it timestamps the order in which teams complete the challenge, and 2, because team guesses are then recorded. Depending on how familiar students are with the topic, you can consider write-in questions, which are the most difficult, select from a drop-down menu, or select from 3 or 4 multiple choices. In fact, making the Google form a self-grading quiz makes it even easier on you and provides instant feedback to students. This powerful activity, both fun and highly engaging, allows students to take ownership of their learning. Hey, a teacher-boarded classroom. And making it a game is the icing on the cake. The key to this EduProtocol is to step back and facilitate learning. Remember that students should be in the driver's seat for this one. It's important to encourage communication and evidence gathering, so a doc is pretty important for the second part of this activity. Some teachers like to provide guided resources for both creation and for making informed guesses, so it's not a bad idea to have those on hand instead of having students simply Google the answers. Also, it's a pretty good idea for the teacher to both proof the final submission and to set the privileges on the slide deck to view only once it's been completed. No more editing. If it helps, introduce a model for students to follow, like a template. And actually, I've got plenty of those to share with you coming up. Speaking of, let's take a look at some templates I've created for you to use in your own classroom. If you head on over to the eduprotocols.com website, you'll see a lot of information to look through, but for today's purposes, we're going to go over to free templates and resources. I should note, however, that in order to access these free templates and resources, you have to be a member. But the good news is that membership is free. All you have to do is enter your email address. Here in the members only area, if you click under Cyber Sandwich and then Cyber Sandwich templates, you will be taken to 2 great templates that you can go ahead and download for yourself. So here's one for grades 3 through 12 and a modified one called Peanut Butter and Jelly for grades K through 2. Also, if you need instructions, they're right here. If you need more information, right here. And there's 2 great videos that walk you through the process for clarification. Also, there are step-by-step instructions if you prefer to read them that way. Now, once you join as a member, if you'd like to use these templates, you go ahead and you download them, and then there are some explanatory slides and extra slides if you need it. And this is a template for 2 people and 3 people. Student 1 puts the notes there. Student 2 puts his or her notes there. Here's where they come together. And in this middle portion, that's where they share what they have in common. And then they do their own summarizing. If you need a slide for 3 people, you've got that there. Same thing, student 1, student 2, doing the research, all 3 students coming together and sharing what they've learned here, and then they're doing the writing and summarizing on their own. In this modified version for students in K through 12, they call it a peanut butter and jelly because it's very quick because you're going to need some teacher scaffolding for this one. Again, here are some instructions on how it works. So in this one, the students aren't so much doing the research as the teacher is. And here's the teacher would go ahead and put the notes here. And maybe if students are able to copy and paste or add some thinking of their own, they could do that on this slide. And then student 1, peanut butter, goes ahead and does the summarizing of what he or she understood. And here for student 2 is the jelly, and this student does the summarizing as well. If you're interested in, I love creating, so I also went ahead and made my own. So if you're interested in these feel free, by all means, they're on the Wakelet board. You can go ahead and use it. This is the template for 2 students. Okay, so student 1, student 2, here's where they come together and then they do their writing. I also have one for 3 students, added the mustard here. So the bologna, the lettuce, the mustard, the bread, where they all come together and talk about what they have in common, and then the student summaries. And finally, I've adapted the PB&J cyber sandwich EduProtocol as well. So here you go, peanut butter and jelly. You would type your topic in here, teacher notes and student notes, and then the summaries would go here. So I hope that helps you. But again, all of these templates will be in the Wakelet board, and that Wakelet board is in the comment section down below. And there you have it, a teacher-boarded alternative to building knowledge and having students write, no matter the content area. EduProtocols allow you to let students explore and to be a very present part of their own learning, because it allows you to do what you do best, be the supportive coach. And because this is a lunch and learn, I like to feed your tummy as well as your brain. So here is a lunch idea for teachers. We've been talking about sandwiches for learning, so I've got 4 healthy sandwich ideas that you can quickly make for an easy on-the-go lunch option. I personally like them because they provide gluten-free options, but if you're okay with gluten, feel free to opt in with your own favorite bread. The link is in the Wakelet board in the comments. And finally, if you need anything, the first link will connect you with all of my socials, so feel free to reach out. I offer free online coaching and a ton of other micro PD for educators. Feel free to share this video at your next faculty meeting. The second link connects you to my Wakelet board with links to things that we discussed today, including customizable cyber sandwich edu protocol templates. Please share them far and wide. I am always here to help. I'm Stephanie DeMichael. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you for this week's Lunch and Learn. Good luck with your teacher-boarded classroom.